Hello everyone, back tuning to our latest Star Wars video. So you're talking about the Rise of Skywalker for this Star Wars video. One of the seminal moments in the build-up to any Star Wars film is the Vanity Fair article that goes over the new film and also has exclusive pictures. They have exclusive interviews with the director and also cast members. And the Rise of Skywalker Vanity Fair article has been released today at vanityfair.com. So we're going to go over the exclusive pictures, which, well, it's not fantastic because they're taken by legendary photographer Annie Leibovitz. So the pictures look fantastic. We'll go over those first of all. There's exclusive names of characters and planets that are going to be in the Rise of Skywalker. So they're not really spoilers because they are official, being officially released, if you like, with agreement from Lucasfilm. So there's no spoiler warning with this. So names of characters and planets, that kind of thing, dropped in with the pictures. And also, JJ Abrams has done quite a wide-ranging interview. We haven't got time to go over all of the article because it's a very, very long piece, but I will leave a link to the article in the description of YouTube. But there's a couple of lines from JJ Abrams that I think really sum up everything that has gone wrong with the sequel trilogy and with Disney's incarnation of Star Wars. There's a couple of very, very telling lines that we're going to talk about after you've had a look at these pictures. So just say, but if you're enjoying the Star Wars content on this channel, then please like, share, and subscribe. I can't get Star Wars videos up every day, unfortunately, because I'm busy with a day job, which is doing weather content. So I can't upload every day with Star Wars content, but I try to get at least 1 or 2 videos a week. And if you're enjoying the content, please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. So let's go through the pictures first of all then, and we begin with this one, headline, Shooting Stars. Director JJ Abrams sets up a shot of Daisy Ridley Ray in Jordan's Wadi Rum Desert. The setting for the planet Pasana. In the desert, says Abrams, there's something about the way the sand interacts with the light. So there's our first exclusive shot from the Vanity Fair piece. The article has been written by Lev Grossman and photography, as I say, from legendary photographer Annie Leibovitz. So we go down and there's the covers of the Vanity Fair magazine that will be hitting newsstands very, very shortly. We carry on scrolling down, look for small pictures. So here's our next picture. And we've got JJ Abrams stands alongside stunt coordinator Eunice Uffhart, directs the Knights of Ren, elite fearsome enforcers of Kylo Ren's dark will. So the Knights of Ren, we knew this anyway really, but the Knights of Ren are in it. There they are. And we're going to be seeing and hearing a lot more about the Knights of Ren, which I'm looking forward to, actually. That's one of the threads I was expecting the Rise of... I was expecting The Last Jedi to pick up Episode 8. And they didn't go with that story thread whatsoever. But the Knights of Ren are back for the Rise of Skywalker. And I assume we'll be hearing a lot more about them. Carry on down to our next picture just here. So very cool looking character. Let's see what they say about that. First look, Vanity Fair reveals Kerry Russell as the masked scoundrel Zori Bliss, seen in the Thieves' Quarter on the snow-dusted world of Kijimi. I think that's Kijimi. So there we go, Kerry Russell's character. Looks rather cool and pretty Star Warsy, I have to say. Here's our next. This is a little bit of a spoiler, actually. I'm surprised they've dropped this one in. Force Majeure. First Order leaders General Hux, Domhnall Gleeson, and Allegiant General Pride, Richard E. Grant on the bridge of Kylo Ren's destroyer. So this is confirming that Richard E. Grant's character is indeed going to be a villainous character. He's a character that's associated with General Hux. Obviously, he's going to be some sort of leader within the First Order. So there we are. Richard E. Grant is going to be playing a villain in the Rise of Skywalker, but not, as some of the speculation was when his first cast, he's not going to be Plagueis, and he's not going to be a young version of Snoke, and he's not going to be any sort of version of Palpatine. He's playing some sort of First Order leader alongside General Hux. We carry on down and look for some more pictures. So here we go. Here's our next picture showing Rey, Chewbacca and C-3PO. Again in the desert. Desert Power, Jonas Sutomato, Chewbacca, Daisy Ridley, Anthony Daniels, C-3PO and John Boyega await the call for action for a chase scene. So I assume this is going to be part of the scene that was revealed in the Rise of Skywalker trailer, where these various characters are on the skiff, on a skiff, and racing through a battle scene in the desert. Then we carry on down, and there's a close-up of C-3PO. C-3PO always looks really, really cool, of course, in that bright gold suit, along with BB-8. Hot take: members of the crew shade and shine. Anthony Daniels, the only cast member to appear in all 9 Skywalker films, while BB-8 looks on. C-3PO, always really cool looking characters, one of the most memorable characters of Star Wars. And again, it's one of those iconic images, really, same as with Darth Vader and with Luke Skywalker and with Princess Leia, Han Solo, R2-D2, and particularly in relation to the suited characters, so like Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, Darth Vader. The public knows who they are, even if they don't have an interest in Star Wars. Even if they've never seen the Star Wars film, many members of the public will know who these characters are by their names. And just, again, it's indicative of the amazing creativity of George Lucas. So here's a couple of smaller pictures horsing around. Finn and new ally Jenna, Naomi Ackley atop Hardy's Arbax. So that's the name of those horse type things that they're riding. Liber charge against mechanized forces of the First Order. It's extremely surreal to be in it, says Ackley, and see how it works from the inside. And then just here we appear to have a picture of a lightsaber duel between Rey and Kylo Ren. Star-crossed, Kylo Ren, Adam Driver and Rey battling out with lightsabers in a stormy confrontation. Their forced connection, what Driver calls their maybe bond, will turn out to run even deeper than previously revealed. So there we are, we're going to get a lightsaber duel in Rise of Skywalker between Kylo Ren and also between Rey. And of course, you'll think that goes without saying, but after The Last Jedi, that there was no lightsaber duel in that film. I suppose Disney wants it, and Lucasfilm wants it sort of reiterated, but there will be a lightsaber battle in The Rise of Skywalker. Here's another picture that we've got Justina, Sam Blas, camera operator Colin Anderson, ready as a take for a chase sequence spotlighting the heroics of Chewbacca and BB-8 and Rey. We carry on down. This is a really, really cool shot. Chewbacca, Lando, BB-8, and also Poe Dameron. Punch It in a historic union. Lando Calrissian. Let's go down again. In a historic union, Lando Calrissian, B.D. Williams retakes the helm of the Millennium Falcon, joined by Poe Dameron, Chewbacca, and BB-8. Here's a survivor, Williams says, of Lando Calrissian. So there is Lando back in all his glory and on the Millennium Falcon. with Chewbacca. Another picture just there, so rather strange looking alien creatures. Well met Jordanian locals play the Aki Aki, natives of the planet Pasana. And there's John Williams scoring. I'm not sure if he's scoring the Rise of Skywalker. I doubt he's scored the Rise of Skywalker yet. So that's probably a still from the Force Awakens, I would have thought. Encore composer John Williams conducting the Star Wars score, drawing on themes and motifs he has woven across 4 decades. I didn't think there would be a second film, says John Williams. Then this is the last picture. Luke Skywalker is back. So again, they're reiterating, they can't go any further, reiterating this, that Luke Skywalker is coming back, and there he is with R2-D2. And it says, from the ashes, Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker with R2-D2. Speculation is rampant about who will rise as the Skywalker of the movie's title, and how that choice will reflect the way the world has changed since Star Wars debuted in 1977. Photography by Annie Leibovitz. Those flames are interesting. Make sure what planet that's on. Does hint, possibly, that Luke and R2 could be on Mustafar. Maybe Mustafar will be coming back, which is the planet, of course, where Anakin was set on fire after he was defeated in his duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was set on fire in Revenge of the Sith and became Darth Vader. So, really cracking pictures, as always, from the Vanity Fair piece. Do check out the pictures for yourself at Vanity Fair. I'm going to leave the link in the description here at YouTube, as I say. Now, I want to just talk about a couple of lines from JJ Abrams that I thought were rather indicative. You see how long this piece is, so we can't possibly go through all of it. We'd be here even longer than some of my weather videos go on for, and they can go on for quite a long time, so we can't go over everything, but I do want to just go over this piece just here. So it's talking about Abrams and The Force Awakens primarily. And then is the way he's created the Rise of Skywalker. So it says Abrams also insisted on keeping to the analog aesthetic of the original trilogy. This one was making The Force Awakens. Those aliens had to be latex and yak hair, not bits and bytes, not generated on a computer. And everything possible was shot on location using film cameras, not digital ones. Even George Lucas, had abandoned that approach by the time he made the second Star Wars trilogy. That's the prequels: Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. So even Lucas had abandoned that approach by the time he made the second Star Wars trilogy, but many fans consider those movies to be a cautionary tale. Do they really? Famously, this is JJ Abrams saying this. Famously, the prequels were mostly green screen environments, Abrams says. Say that again. Famously, the prequels were mostly green screen environments. That's wrong. That's a lie. The Phantom Menace had a large amount of location filming. Around half of the sequence of shooting of the film was filmed in the desert in Tunisia, but more in a moment on that. He goes on, and that was George himself doing that. It ended looking exactly how he wanted it to look, and I always preferred the look of the original movies. Because I just remember when you're in the snow on Hoth, when you're in the desert on Tatooine, when you're in the forest of Endor, it's amazing. If you put a evaporator here and there, all of a sudden, almost any natural location suddenly becomes a Star Wars location. Just think about the silliness and the just how ridiculous that sounds. If you put a evaporator here or there, all of a sudden, almost any natural location suddenly becomes a Star Wars location. And this goes to the heart of what's wrong with the sequel trilogy. The lack of creativity, the lack of time and planning, the lack of judgment. There is absolutely no sense whatsoever that they are trying to create something original, trying to create something new, trying to create something that people have never seen before. They think they can go to any location on Earth, stick a evaporator in the ground, and it's Star Wars. That is not how Star Wars works. These people have no idea what they are doing with these films. They have no idea how to create Star Wars. And that is the reason we are in such a shambles with the sequel trilogy. They think that they can go to any location in the world and just stick a evaporator in the ground and you've got Star Wars. Well, that is not JJ Abrams how Star Wars is created. That is not how you create Star Wars. It's a lack of creativity. It's a lack of, they just have got no sense about them when it comes to making these films. It's absolutely extraordinary that Abrams can say something so banal, so silly, and thinking you can be taken seriously. Actually think you can stick an evaporator in the ground and you've got Star Wars. I can't believe that these people actually believe the nonsense that they come out with. It goes on a little bit more in the piece, but the more interesting thing about The Force Awakens and its successor, The Last Jedi, written and directed by Rian Johnson, was how they subtly complicated Lucas's vision. They didn't complicate Lucas's vision. They set about ruining Lucas's vision, really. There's not enough sort of story woven within these sequel films to sort of complicate Lucas's vision. They just kind of like ignore it or sort of go against it, really. It carries on. 30 years have gone since the ending of Return of the Jedi, during which time a newly reborn Republic become complacent and politically stagnant. There's no sense of that whatsoever in any of the two sequel films. There's no sense of the political setup, what's happening with the New Republic, why things have gone wrong. Nothing like that is explained, so I can't see how they can make that judgment, because there's nothing within either film that tells you that that's what's happened. And it goes on, allowing the rise of the reactionary Neo-Imperial First Order, whose origins we will learn about in the Rise of Skywalker. So it's about time, isn't it, that we found out how the First Order, who they are, what they want. Again, over two films, there's been absolutely no sort of story woven within those two films, The Force Awakens and Rise of Skywalker, about what the First Order are trying to achieve, where they've come from, where they're going. There's just nothing at all about them. They're totally two-dimensional, no backstory, nothing whatsoever. Apparently we're going to get some backstory in the Rise of Skywalker, but as far as I'm concerned, it's far, far too late to be doing that in the third film of the trilogy. It continues. It was almost like I think it's JJ Abrams saying this, it was almost as if the Argentine Nazis had sort of got together and actually started to bring back bring it back in some real form, Abrams says. Just like that, the rules of the Star Wars universe change. This is Vanity Fair. Just like that, rules of the Star Wars universe change. It wasn't all over when the Ewoks sang, Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Bothans had died in vain. Really? They died in vain. Obi-Wan Kenobi's sacrifice was in vain. Okay. Even Han and Leia split up. It's a little less of a fairy tale now. And again, this goes to show why these sequel trilogy films are probably a very bad idea, because it takes the ending that we knew from Return of the Jedi. It ruins it. So with these sequel trilogy films, they're tending to ignore a lot of what's gone before in the prequels and the originals, but in some instances they are also ruining what's gone before. And that's particularly true of Return of the Jedi. It's particularly true of that ending that we knew so well and was such a wonderful ending the final sort of 10-15 minutes of Return of the Jedi is just outstanding sort of climax to originally just a trilogy of films, but eventually becoming like two trilogies of films with prequels and the originals. The sixth trilogy ruins that ending. And again, it just goes over why this sixth trilogy has been such a bad idea and why it's been so badly formed. But you probably couldn't have done a sequel trilogy without really ruining the ending of Return of the Jedi in a lot of ways. But again, just going back to what JJ Abrams says here. I mean, again, we're talking about re-emphasizing using real sets, practical special effects. I mean, they did this to death on the build-up to The Force Awakens. I became absolutely sick to death of hearing about real locations and practical effects. They hit us over the head. Hammer blow after hammer blow after hammer blow after hammer blow after hammer blow about practical effects and real locations. And here we go again. Abrams is at it again, no doubt encouraged by Lucasfilm's marketing department. The fact of the matter is, the prequels, particularly The Phantom Menace, had a huge amount of on-location filming. So in The Phantom Menace, you have a huge amount of that film is filmed within Tunisia. When Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Jar Jar Binks and Padme go to Tatooine and discover Anakin, there is so much of that is filmed on location. And it's just crazy, but they seem to think, well, JJ Abrams anyway, seems to think, he actually says it, doesn't he? Where's the quote? Famously, the prequels were mostly green screen environments. That is not the case. Attack of the Clones also had on-location shooting. They went back to the original locations for Attack of the Clones, went back to Tunisia and filmed on the original locations for from the original Star Wars film, going back to the homestead, going back to explain the origins of Owen Lars and how Owen and Aunt Beru fit in with the story. That was all filmed on location in Tunisia at the original locations that they went to in the original Star Wars films. They are lying. JJ Abrams is lying about this. It is not right that there was no location shooting in the prequel films. Admittedly, Revenge of the Sith did have minimal shooting, live locations, if you like. A lot of that was filmed with green screen. But then there's a lot of plate work that goes on with that as well. So, for example, when on Mustafar, during the lightsaber fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi, a lot of the volcanic eruptions, volcanic shots, were filmed by Mount Etna, and then the plates were added in, if you like, to the film. Within the special effects. So this idea that the whole thing was just a huge, massive green and blue screen, it's wrong and it's not the case. But what I would say is that JJ Abrams' idea that you can just stick a evaporator in the ground and you've got Star Wars just shows the total lack of creativity about these films and why the sequel trilogy from Disney and Lucasfilm is a creative failure. This is a creative failure, and the reason is because of lack of creativity. And in those few words, very, very telling words from J.J. Abrams, but it's kind of rubbishing. I mean, the arrogance of them, they're kind of rubbishing what George Lucas created. They think they can do it better, but what they've actually done is just complete lack of creativity and telling a story that they haven't planned out. They don't know what they're doing. These people do not know what they are doing. They don't know what they are talking about. And those few lines of very arrogant words, I think, from J.J. Abrams really sums it up. And I suspect this is probably going to be They're indicative of a marketing campaign that we're going to have yet again with another Disney project, kind of like rubbishing what George Lucas created, rubbishing particularly the prequels, hitting us over the head with special effects, real locations, practical effects I should say, real locations, just the same old ball that we got with The Force Awakens. They're at it again with The Rise of Skywalker, and I'm completely sick of it. I have to say, I'm absolutely sick to death of Disney and Lucasfilm. So there we go. We've got a bit of a rant today. Sorry about that. But the pictures were nice. The pictures were nice from Annie Leibovitz, so I hope you enjoyed those. But again, it's just so indicative of the state and the mess that these people have made of Star Wars, and they think that they can just stick a evaporator, which of course is a practical effect, stick it into the ground anywhere, and you've got Star Wars. There is more creativity. I've said this before. I'm going to do a review of both the originals and the prequels very shortly. Reviews of all of those films, hopefully. And I've said before, there is more creativity in the first sort of 10 minutes of The Phantom Menace than in the whole of The Force Awakens. The Phantom Menace is, in many ways, it's a failure. I'll admit it. In many ways, it is a failure. But it's a glorious failure. It fails on an epic, in an epic way, if you like. So it's a film that's just totally bursting with ideas. It's almost insane, actually. The ideas and the creativity that George is trying to bring to screen, and the ideas he's playing with, symbiosis, all of that kind of thing. Our hero being created by in sort of a quasi-religious way, the idea of midi-chlorians, which a lot of fans don't like, but the idea of midi-chlorians is kind of crazy in a way, but that's George Lucas, incredibly creative, to the point of almost obsession in a lot of ways. And you got these people. And okay, a lot of that didn't work that George created with The Phantom Menace. There are various reasons why that film went wrong. But I still have to put it ahead of the sequel trilogy just because of the creativity and the gloriousness of the sort of insanity of the ideas that are within that film. I have to put it ahead of this sort of dirge that we've got, dirge of nothing, really, that we've got from Disney and from JJ Abrams. They think you can stick a evaporator in the ground and you've got Star Wars. No, that's not right. Star Wars should be creative. It should be creative with love. It should be a labour of love, if you like, and it should be bursting with creativity. And these people just don't get it. They don't understand it. And that's the reason that it's financially successful, the trilogy, but creatively it is a tremendous disappointment. It's a tremendous failure. And given what Abrams has said there, I wouldn't expect Rise of Skywalker to be any different. As Mark Hamill said, hope for the best, but expect the worst when it comes to Disney Star Wars. And I think Abrams' words are very, very telling. Right, it's been a 28-minute rant. Sorry about that. We'll be back with more Star Wars content very, very soon. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.